Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 2. Well, welcome back to the live room. This is episode 2. What am I doing? We're off to a weird start already.
It's a weird day.
This is episode 2. This is my co-host Trevor. This is Jason. My name is Ethan. How is everybody?
We're well, thank you, Ethan. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. That's my wrong name.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've already forgotten the name you've given me.
I don't even know. This was an inside
I'm happy
joke.
with Trevor.
We've we've launched the podcast at this stage now.
Woohoo!
We're coming out of our humble beginnings. You know, it looks a little different.
A little more profesh.
We've got a couple upgrades.
Cup grades.
Cup grades.
We
We don't have cup holders.
We still don't have cup holders. The couple different things here. I've got a different microphone. We've got different stools. You know, things are happening.
Different
You know what I'm saying?
computer. We have an addition of an on-air sign.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Gibson sponsorship, which is, you know, well timed.
Sponsored by Gibson.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Yes.
Pretty good.
So what's going on? How are you guys? How are you guys doing today?
Pretty well, thanks, mate. Had the day off work today, which was strange, but it was good. It's good.
Strange.
Well, that's good.
I feel like I'm at work all the time, which is good. I love the place, but you know, I had a nice big sleep in. It was great. It's good. What about you guys? How was your day?
Jackson, how was your day?
I worked. I didn't work very hard, but I worked.
That's good.
And I'm getting paid tomorrow. So it's all worth it.
That's good.
Mate,
Yeah.
living the dream.
I get paid tonight.
Me too.
Wednesdays are the
Hump
best
day.
payday. What did I do today? Well, I worked. And I went out and got a 64 gig SD card, which we're using in our brand new, well, not brand new, but Canon 80D, which we're filming the podcast on now.
DSLR.
A little bit of an upgrade from the iPhone X, which we're still using up there. For those of you watching on YouTube, hey, nice to see you. Bird's eye. And so we've changed out for the GoPro. Also, a little bit of a news update here. Last episode, I was using a MacBook Air.
Yeah, it's gained a little bit of weight, I've seen.
It's gained
Yes.
a couple inches.
It's that's not what she said because that's not family friendly.
We're
It
an
kind of is.
inexplicit show.
It's okay to laugh. Yeah, so I turned that back to the guy who I bought it from on the local Trading Post website here in good old regional.
It's called Gumtree, mate. Get used to it.
Regional Victoria, whatever you guys do. It's like I don't know.
Facebook
whatever.
Marketplace.
Yeah, something like that. So I traded that in because there was a pressure mark in the LCD, and I didn't like it. I could have replaced it for $60. Well, actually, listen to this. Here's a good story for you guys. There's a new Apple store just two doors up from there.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, I took the MacBook up there. I was like, oh, what would you guys charge to do it? Obviously, I know I could have done it way cheaper. So I can buy a screen or an LCD for $60 on eBay and put it in myself. They get any guesses at what they quoted me for a MacBook 11-inch Air? That's 5 years old.
280.
I'm going to say $700.
You are so close.
Really?
$760 is what they quoted me. Yeah,
That's Apple for you, man.
yeah, I know. So we've upgraded here. So I've got a 2011 MacBook Pro. Now listen to this. I've done a couple bit of upgrades in here. So we're running.
Are you running Windows? No.
No, it's Windows. So I've swapped out the disk drive for a solid state drive.
Good move. Good
Smart
move.
move.
And I've also got 8 gigs of RAM in there. But we're also running a 2.2 gigahertz at i7 processor.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like as far as MacBook Pro goes, it's pretty good.
That's a souped up 2011 model, mate.
Portable beast.
You have a CD drive. You probably have USBs. That's still better than the new ones.
You know what I
right?
could do is I could take out the optical drive and put another solid state drive in there. How does that sound? Folks, audience, live audience? Oh, no,
I think that's a great idea.
not yet. Cue the laugh track, guys.
That was actually cool.
Thank you.
That was actually quite
You know,
clever.
I haven't even sipped my coffee yet. I've been so keen to get into this podcast. Before we talk into our main talking points, let's talk a little bit about the intro because we didn't have the intro song and the video and the logos for anything
We did not.
when we filmed episode 1. Jackson, talk about it.
The intro song stems back to my recollection would have been early 2014. Tyler, Tyson, whatever your name
Whatever
was.
works, man.
Tyler.
We were having a bit of a jam session one day, and Tyler is quite skilled at playing what I would say comedic guitar riffs. And he shared this particular riff with me years ago, and it's just always stuck. Whenever we bump into each other here and then when guitars are involved, he'll just play the riff, and I just crack up because I just remember that memory, and it was funny at the time.
Fun memories, man. That's what music's all about.
It is a strange guitar riff. What was the tuning? Like, no, what
Time
was the
signature.
It was drop D. The riff starts in 6/8. It gravitates to 3/4 and back to 6/8 with a weird midsection towards the end, which is some weird country riff, and then out with a I believe it's a G. Boom.
Yeah, G.
So what was the inspiration behind this riff? Because you are the songwriter behind it.
Well, it has stemmed from kind of comedy. Like I wanted to write a riff that you could ease into, and then like the main bit, like the country sounding riff towards the end, I would comedically speed up. So I'd play the first bit of the riff the same speed, and then after that I'd just like double the speed, and that'd be it.
I dig it.
Yeah, I think so.
Were you also listening to a lot of the Benny Hill show?
Too much, yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Benny Hill. That's a really good. Nobody's going to get that except for everybody at this table
Oh,
and
a few of
everybody.
their mates will.
There's a
Really?
couple of traditional BBC fans in the mix here. So
BBC.
Shout out to Sebastian Young. I know you'll love this.
Seb Young 32.
Hotmail.com.
Yep. Shout out to hot dogs for being tasty, guys.
Oh. Now I'm hungry again. You do this to me every episode.
I haven't even had dinner yet.
Mustard or ketchup, Eric?
Both.
Both?
Both.
You don't fuck around?
I do.
And mayonnaise.
Oh, we might have to bleep that. I forgot we
I don't around.
Oh, that was good. I like that. That's good. I like that.
Just use my voice to go over yours.
Twilight. Oh, all right. So we've got a jam-packed program for you guys. Emphasis on the jam.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be staring at the camera a whole lot just because I want to monitor, make sure everything films. I don't know if I've mentioned this before live on air, but this DSLR only films for 30 minutes at a time, so I'm going to have to monitor it really closely. It's another beautiful Wednesday night at 6:45 p.m. We're going to talk about some guitars today.
We sure are.
two of the finest.
Two of the finest.
America's finest.
America's finest, other than me.
I think you trumped them both.
Ah, good pun. Love it.
Loud guitars.
Love it.
Loud guitars. I don't know you're going to unveil that so early in the year.
Actually, I'm working on it. There was a guitar that the yellow Les Paul Jr. It's
beautiful.
It's actually been sent away. I sent it away.
Really?
Yes.
Where?
There's
There's a tip?
no, not the tip, not the tip. The dump for my American friends.
Dumpsters.
Dumpsters.
It's a garbage bin.
Do you guys know that there's a variety of winged being in Australia that people refer to as bin chickens?
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
ibises?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I heard that phrase for the first time like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, gosh, you guys have like the strangest things to say. Like, seriously.
We're our own country, man. Like,
The
we
garbage-
speak English, but
We're too far away from the rest of the world. So.
The garbage goose,
Garbage goose.
the trash can toucan,
Oh,
the tip turkey.
I like that. I
I
like
could
that
go
a lot.
I like the
day.
alliteration.
Yeah, me
I could
too.
go all day. But yes, anyway, back to my original point.
Trash chook.
You sent away the Les Paul.
My very first guitar was an Epiphone Les Paul Jr. 2, which I got from Guitar Center, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in like 2005, I think it was. I was 12. I'm 25 now. So I've been playing guitar
Good
for
maths.
13 years.
Wow.
Is that right? That's right.
You said good maths too early.
Good maths. Yes, too early.
Quick maths.
So this is your standard slab board guitar with your like sawdust body, you know what I mean? So after a couple of years of having it, was originally a Sunburst Les Paul, just whatever. But I wanted to get it tidied up. I wanted to change it a little bit. So I had my best friend's father, who works on guitars, do another cutaway, strip all the paint, and then we did a veneer on it. And then I got my own last name, Ladd, as the headstock, and then RCL Custom, which stands for my father's initials, Richard C. Ladd.
What does the C stand for?
You know what? It doesn't. I don't know.
Charles?
No, it stands for Carlson.
Christy?
Christy with a C.
Cynthia?
Cynthia. I'm liking where you're going.
Thank you.
So I got tired of it being like that. So then I sanded it and I stripped everything off of it, and I went to Bunnings. Here's my first mistake. I went to Bunnings and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fix up my guitar. So I got like yellow spray paint, TV yellow Les Paul Jr. Google it if you don't know it. It's called
Iconic.
It's TV yellow because back in the black and white days, they painted it basically a color that would show best on black and white television, which was
That's
yellow.
right. Yeah.
The more you know. Cue the rainbow here. So I was like, it just looked terrible. So I bought a Slate Raven screen from a gentleman on Facebook. a couple months ago, and he fixes up guitars. And
That's so Raven.
He lives in Kew East. That's so Raven. I love it. Which is a suburb of Melbourne.
Melbourne, as I believe.
Melbourne.
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 Do you? Okay, I'm going to deviate one more time here.
Let's do it. Why
Okay.
not?
Phonetically, right? Okay. What's that movie with Matt Damon? You know that one?
The Borny Identity.
Team America.
No, the Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
The Bourne Identity.
Cool.
So how do you read that? Bourne?
Well, it's Born, but
I'd say the Bourne Identity.
Okay, now
the boy you're
now put now now put MEL in front of it. Now put the word Mel in front of
It's like Mel Gibson and Matt Damon in the Bourne Identity combined.
what?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Now, why do you guys say Melbourne?
Melbourne.
Purely out of laziness. Australians are very lazy people when it comes to their dialect. So Melbourne is easier to say than Melbourne. That's the entire reason. That's why people say Bendigo instead of Bendigo. Bendigo.
Yeah, the guy, mate.
Bendigo.
He's got a point. I agree.
Yes. So anyway, back to the story.
Lazy, and I think we talk pretty fast in Australia.
Yeah, you do.
Way
Yeah.
too fast.
Too fast, too furious. Oh, that was good.
Vin
Rest
Diesel.
in peace, Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Imagine like a Bogan-themed Fast and Furious movie, though.
I might.
It's based in Bendigo, like around the Coles car park.
No, it's not based in Bendigo. It's based at the Thunderdome.
Yeah!
AC/DC is all the soundtrack.
It's
Occasionally Airborne.
Thunderstruck. Oh, yeah, Airborne. That's a good.
Our
movie.
homeboys Wolf Mother are in the mix.
The Mother of Wolves, yep.
Back to Airborne. Why don't you call it Airborne?
I don't know. But that's a fair point. We're lazy.
They're an Australian band. We should say Airborne.
Airborne.
All right, from now on, you've seen it
And
here
they play
first.
Gibson Explorers.
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 Airborne is now Airborne.
Airborne. Airbnb.
The Airbenders.
Airborne. Yeah, I love AC/DC. They
Avatar:
sounded-
The Last Airbender.
The new, they're the old version of Airborne. Airborne's a great band.
Good. So anyway, I sent my guitar off to this guy who I bought the Slate Raven off of. He's a luthier, and I trust him. So basically, what I'm having done to the guitar is restore it to the original thing. So I'm gonna undo the cutaway, and how I believe it's gonna happen. I don't know. I've sent it away, and I'm like, I know this is gonna be a hard job to do. Do your best.
That's the best thing you can say.
So
to a
I'm
luthier.
pretty sure he's gonna put a veneer on it, fill in the cracks.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And respray it sunburst. So
Oh, you're going to do Sunburst?
yeah,
Beautiful.
sunburst again.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was a really just out of nowhere story. Sorry,
They're the best stories.
best stories. Tyler,
Yes.
lead into this discussion that we. So I don't know what you guys want to call this episode. I had an idea.
Yes.
The rivalry.
That is very good. That's very good. I believe in our Facebook group chat we had Clash of the Titans.
Not to be confused with the PlayStation 2 game Crash of the Titans.
But I wanted to call it Crash of the Titans because Gibson's kind of crashed.
Yes.
That was the idea.
All right. Episode 2, Crash of the Titans.
Crash of the Titans.
Boom.
Trend it.
Tasty Tyler.
Tasty Tyler.
And who are the Titans we speak of?
The Titans we speak of.
Ibanez, also known as Ibanez.
Ibanez.
And ESP.
And ESP. Yeah, well, exactly. No.
the Ultimate Showdown.
So, yeah.
That's like right up my alley.
That could be another showdown.
I know it is.
Yeah, but anyway, this rivalry, this Crash of the Titans, is between Epiphone and Squire.
I really thought you were going to do it this time.
No, it's Fender and Gibson. Fender and Gibson.
Fender and Gibson.
The two most iconic guitar brands of all time. If you disagree, then you're wrong.
No, but it's true.
It is true. They're the two
It's
most
true.
iconic. They're the two most purchased, celebrated, and historically
Renowned.
renowned guitars. Absolutely. So, with all the news going on with Gibson at the moment, we've decided it's probably a perfect time to see why Gibson is so great. Go through a bit of their history, play a few of their guitars, talk about a few of their guitars, and the same with Fender. It's only fair. So
I think the best way to go about it is talk about it first and then do some playing examples.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Jackson,
Hey,
all right. So,
we should talk about the ones we've owned.
yes, let's talk about some of the guitars we've owned.
All right, cool.
The other thing as well is I find it interesting because I see you as a Fender guy now. I see me as a Gibson guy. I don't know where you
Daisy
Where
Rock
I'm at.
guitars.
I've owned both. I've owned two of each.
Tell us about it. Tell us about some. I know you had a beautiful SG. at some stage.
I had an SG Special,
was
one of the
beautiful.
faded ones, and it was just a workhorse. It did the job. It played gnarly, gigged all the time. Yeah.
You played a lot
Could
of
not
gigs with
complain.
Navy Blue with that guitar, didn't you?
I actually got a trade for that guitar. I traded
No, you're fine.
I had a Jackson Dinky at the time, which the trade value probably would have been around the $500 mark. But there was some guy on one of the Facebook buy, sell, swap guitar pages. He was looking for this very specific Jackson model, the DK2M. It's one with a maple neck.
Yep.
And he offered a Gibson SG Special.
Wow.
It's a great trade.
That is a really good, like that
At
guy.
the time, I was like fixing up the Floyd Rose, and that's the reason I wanted to sell it, because I can't stand Floyd Roses. And yeah, obviously I was going to trade it right away. I didn't even finish like putting the new strings on. I'm like, hey, I have this guitar, and I caught up with him that very weekend.
Wow.
Nice.
Boom.
That's
And it
awesome.
was probably my main guitar for a good innings there. Ended up trading it for a seven-string LTD Stephen Carpenter signature.
That was another beautiful guitar.
Oh.
Yes, it was.
I played that a lot. I played that SG a lot too. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Probably in my top 5 guitars.
I wish I would have played it. But the funny thing is I had a faded SG back in the day. Back in the late 2000s, I bought. Well, I had my parents buy me from AmericanMusical.com, American Musical Supply (AMS). That's where you go if you want payment plans. No credit checks.
Mentioned Lad Studios get 10% off.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. But I had a faded SG as well. This was back in my AC/DC stages. So I used to go to Guitar Center Harrisburg and look at all the guitars I couldn't afford, like the 335s and Cherry Red, the Les Pauls, and all that stuff, and the SGs as well, because I was really into AC/DC at the time. So I didn't want a black one like Angus has, but I wanted a Cherry Red one with the black pick guard.
Yeah, yeah.
So I settled for the $500 SG faded edition because that's all you could do.
Yeah.
SGs are the entry level Gibson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes, there's exceptions, but generally speaking, entry level Gibson, you can't have that extra $2,000 to throw around. You get the SG.
They're the most sold Gibson of all time.
They
too,
are
I think.
actually.
Yeah.
That very reason,
Funnily enough.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right. So
Yeah.
Getting back to the topic though.
Yes.
Yes, I've had an SG Special. It was mad. I also had a Gibson Les Paul Jr. at one point with a single P90 in the bridge.
Nice.
cool.
At the time, it was like the first expensive guitar I ever bought, but I was playing some pretty high gain stuff. It was very much my AC/DC Metallica phase.
Yeah.
And I
P90.
I'm like, whoa, I want a Gibson.
Yeah.
So I bought this guitar, and it just sounded horrendous, and I got over it pretty quick. Ended up trading it for another LTD actually down the track.
Wow.
If I could turn back time, I would still have that guitar for sure, because like my playing dynamic has changed a lot. It was awesome, but at the time I was just a bit too immature for a Gibson.
Yep.
You're in that metal stage.
I
man.
agree though. There's a time and place. I like you. I have had more guitars than I can shake a drumstick at. But
It's a lot of guitars.
man, I honestly we'd go way over time.
I've had at least 15.
I've had at least more than 15, and I've had a lot of really good expensive pieces of gear that I, as a younger kid, as with anything, you don't appreciate the value of something until you start to work for it. Or,
Oh, exactly.
because back when I'm very lucky because my parents supported me and still support me to this day through my music and gear acquisition and all that stuff, which is how I, was able to get this Les Paul, which is right behind me, which is my holy grail guitar.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, for helping me out there. But it's the thing is, like, I've had Gibsons, I've had Fenders, I've had all that stuff, but I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. And like you, like if I could turn back time, I would have so much good gear for the studio that we're in right now, ladstudios.com.
Shameless.
It's shameless. But that's the thing is, like, man, if I could turn back time. Tyler, let's talk about your experience with Fender and Gibson so far. Then we'll talk about our pros and cons.
Fantastic. So I've had one Gibson and I've had 3 Fenders. So that should denote that I'm a Fender guy. My one Gibson was in our navy blue days. I had a 2002 Gibson Les Paul Studio in wine red. It was a beautiful guitar. Had a very heavy strings on it. Handled a lot of my playing, a lot of atmospheric kind of stuff back then, very Tool kind of stuff.
Yep.
The other guitar I had in my arsenal too was a Blacktop Telecaster, the two humbucker ones. They were really good.
Nice.
I bought that off Jackson's brother, actually. Good man, good old Benjamin Jones. Anyway, good old Benji.
Benji.
After that,
BJ.
I think good old BJ.
That name sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That was rough in high school for him.
Couple of years down the track, I bought a Fender American Standard in natural, which I then sold to Eric a bit later down the track.
That's it.
I'm one of those guys that kind of buys a guitar, has them for 6 months, and it's like, oh, there's got to be something else out there that I like. Trade it or sell it and then buy another one. I've had probably 26, 27 different guitars.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I have
yes.
it.
We're all guilty. We're all guilty.
I've got it.
Yeah.
And I've just acquired something else the other day.
Yes,
This has nothing to do with drums. Guitars. Sorry.
Has
I'm all
everything
over
to
the
do
place.
with drums.
Shift the brain. Shift the brain.
So, okay,
Change
so
gears.
have you been to the local music store in Bendigo, Victoria? Muso stuff lately?
I
Shout out
have.
to Mizo stuff.
Have you seen the clear acrylic drum set that's right in the middle of the floor?
I don't go to the drum room very often.
No, it's right in the main.
As you walk in.
As you walk in, it's right to
I
your
probably
left.
have, but I probably just saw right past.
It's only been there for a couple of weeks.
You saw right through it because it's
Yes.
clear. I put a down payment on it the other day.
Fantastic.
Hey, nice. Cool.
So I have
Studio or
a
personal?
it's well both really because anything that's my personal gear, people end up taking off the wall hooks without asking. Not naming names, but don't do it. It's yeah, no. It's good because like I have a lot of good drum kits at home as well as playing guitar and bass. I also play drums. Drums was my forte for years and years. I've got two really nice Ludwig kits at home, a Ludwig Maple Classic, Sparkle, whatever you call it. I bought it from Memphis Drum Shop. And a original run of Ludwig Vistalite sets, which is an acrylic set, which most famously used by John Bonham in the 70s with Zeppelin. Really powerful, big, beefy sound.
It's a big kit, isn't it?
It's a 24-inch bass drum. I use a 18-inch floor tom with a 13-inch tom in front of me with a stainless steel snare. So I can't necessarily ship things over. I could, but I'm very, very weary of doing it because it's kind of like heritage gear to this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got the next best thing and got a Pearl Crystal Beat set. So
It looked great.
That's on it. That's on the way. I'm
Yeah.
picking it up next week. Just waiting for a couple invoices to get paid from the business.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Yes. So yes, gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes, yeah, I definitely have it. And the latest culprit of which is this beautiful American Professional Series Stratocaster you see here.
Very good.
Pro Series. It's a game changer.
It's beautiful. It's probably number one guitar I've ever owned / played.
Really?
Yep. It's finally taken the cake. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm glad, and I think this one will be one of my keepers. So I'll be interested to see how it sounds through a Fender and up against the Les Paul a bit later on.
Yes. So if I'm good to continue on trend with you guys, I've had a lot of guitars over the years, as I've alluded to earlier. I started with an Epiphone Les Paul Special 2, which is the one that's getting fixed up by a gentleman from Gasket Guitars. Look him up on Facebook. Really good work. Nice guy. I've had Fender Strats. I had a wine. I cannot talk tonight.
None of us can. It's weird.
I had a wine with Wetaket. It was a
I got what you mean.
It was a Maxi Strat. This was back in my. Everybody had these days where they loved.
I had a Maxi Strat. I forgot to mention that. by
Everybody
the
had
way.
the days where they were
That's
like
right.
growing and they loved, the classic stuff, AC/DC, Deep Purple, blah, blah, blah. So I had this Strat and I was trying to play Deep Purple at the time, which we'll get to. I had the SG, Faded, all that stuff. I had Epiphone Les Pauls. I had a Gibson Les Paul 60s Tribute, which is a really nice guitar with P90s, by the way.
Nice.
It's really
Ooh,
nice.
lovely.
Buttery.
What,
Buttery.
what else have I had?
Buttery's a word.
Rickenbacker 4003, snapped the truss rod in one of those, thinking I was the luthier.
Hey, one step at a time.
I've had 4 Geddy Lee Fender Jazz basses, which one of this is sitting in the other room now. 3 of them black, and one of them sunburst. I had a Fender Precision bass, an American Standard one, which was my main go-to bass when I was playing semi-professionally back in high school. Pretty much gigging out every weekend and selling tickets to teenagers. Go
It's the
figure.
only way to do it.
Back when I was trying to win Vans Warped Tour through Battle of the Bands.
Oh, beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
It's better than some of the competitions we had around here.
What else have I had? Different guitars, acoustic guitars, Ovations, all of that stuff, man. I've you name it, I've had them. But I finally gotten to the point now where, as Tyler has alluded to with his Fender Strat, I've got a Gibson Les Paul, and it ain't your average Les Paul because it's a traditional spec. What it means by traditional spec is your standard, your standard model of Gibsons. They've changed their approach to guitars lately, and I don't like it. Chambered body, meaning they route out a bunch of cavities in the body to make the guitar more light or lighter, whatever you prefer. Robot tuners on the back of the headstock, so the guitar is going to tune itself like a self-parking car. I don't trust it. Don't like it.
I can't live without it. No.
Well, does your car have park assist?
Yeah. I'm kind of like a technology kind of buff, so that'll probably be the next thing. Nah.
I would go electric tuners because why not?
Yeah. Do you remember seeing them when they first
It's
came
a little
out?
bit. Why not?
Robot
blew
tuners?
everyone's mind.
Yeah.
It was like a viral video when it came out. It was crazy.
Keep talking. I'm just going to reset the camera here. So,
Sure.
Fender. What do you think? So let's. Okay, so I've got a Les Paul. Blah blah blah. Nobody cares. Let's get into Fender. Why do you like Fender? So obviously you're for Fender. Tell us about it. Tell the audience.
I'm
go.
probably about 80% Fender, 20% Gibson. I still love Gibson, but I've had better experiences with Fender, especially now the Stratocaster I have here. I like them just because they feel like a guitar should, in my opinion. Everyone's got different feelings in their hands. Ergonomically speaking, it suits the way that I play and my particular technique.
What about the sound? If you're comparing the sound from a Fender to a Gibson, what stands out in a Fender to you and your style of play?
Well, I'll give you what I consider the difference. I think Gibson is the best, bar none, for rock and roll, and I think Fender's good for everything else.
More versatile.
More versatile, in my opinion.
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
One trick pony, versatile, right?
One trick pony, but no one does that trick better.
It's
and
a
no
damn
one
good
ever
trick.
will. It's a damn good trick. You're right. So, yeah. So I just like Fender because I feel they're very versatile, even though a Stratocaster, historically speaking, isn't necessarily too versatile because it's got single coil pickups. But the particular ones and these ones, we've got the Shaw single coil pickups. So the custom shop wiring and all that kind of stuff designed by Shaw at Fender. And they can handle anything. I was
Handles gain a bit better.
It handles gain great. I was
Not going
playing
to
some,
feedback like crazy.
No, that's right. I was playing some Lamb of God riffs on it earlier today, and it squealed. It was great. So
I'd love to hear that later
You know-
on. We have to do that.
through a Fender. We'll see how we go.
One of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen, before we get to Jackson's thoughts, back in high school, the sign of the times was a metal band. Who can play in drop C best? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I played
2007
I
era.
sat in playing bass with a band one show, and it was drop B.
Oh.
Right. So I was playing with spaghetti strings, like, you know, as you did last week.
Drop ass.
That's what it sounded like. So anyway, this guy was playing a Fender Telecaster in drop B for a metal band. Dude,
Did he have like super thick strings on it?
I don't know.
Like 20 to 80?
I don't know.
Standard scale, all that.
He must have been using 10s or something, man, because it was like, I mean,
Jim Root can pull it off.
but he's the only
He's
guy.
probably, yeah.
So it was just really strange. Like there's some areas where people use those type of guitars where they don't necessarily belong. So it's a funny little tidbit. T&D.
Yeah, for
Jackson, what do you think?
Fender Gibson. I'm not, all right, you said an 80-20% sort of divide between Fender and Gibson.
Yeah.
I'm going to be much more middle ground and say 55 Fender, 45 Gibson.
Oh,
Nice.
There's a few reasons there. For me, all right, let's go back to that immature guitar player sort of thing. When you're an immature guitar player,
you play
it's
Gibson.
about sounding...
I still get to grow up there.
Pretty much. It's about balls to the wall, sounding big, sounding massive, sounding awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
And something like a Gibson or just any high output humbucker is going to do the job for that. But as you want to really improve your playability as a guitarist, you really want to work on your clarity and like just every single little thing you're doing, whether it's just like where your fingers are positioned, maybe they're rubbing against another string.
Yeah.
With a Fender, you're going to get a lot more clarity. And I believe it's due to the single coils.
Yeah.
Like if you just like brush a big G chord with a Gibson, it's going to sound monster.
Oh, absolutely.
But you hit it with a Fender, you're going to hear every single individual string ring perfectly.
That's right. Little nuances and everything, yeah.
So for purposes of trying to work on my guitar playing and get me to the next level, I'm focusing on Fenders because I think they're just going to assist in my playing. I'm going to hear every mistake I make and just work on it better and better.
Yeah.
And as you do that, you're just going to be a better guitarist.
Clarity.
clarity.
Clarity is the thing to remember with Fenders. Now, obviously, it's no secret that I'm a Gibson guy. Only Gibson is good enough. And it's taken me a long time to actually get to this point.
It has.
I think it's you followed me in my journey.
I have indeed.
I've always been a humbucker guy in general. I think it's no secret my musical background has really just kind of directed me towards that. Well, the other thing as well is like if you start becoming a songwriter, you're going to find your own sound, and eventually you'll realize like what the tool you have isn't doing the trick for you. Now, bear in mind for listeners who may not know, it's kind of like 60-40, the way that you get your sound. For me, no matter what guitar I'm playing, my sound will transfer through because my sound is in my hands.
That's right.
Sonically, you're nearly going to sound the same. It's the small nuanced differences between a Strat and a Les Paul for me. But I've gravitated more towards the Les Paul. And my journey towards the Les Paul was, it all started last year when I bought the Telecaster from you, which, by the way, man,
Big mistake.
It's no. It was really good because it showed me what I needed. It was the gateway drug. Because it was really funny. Back when Les Paul came out, or Gibson came out with the Les Pauls, a lot of country guys and rock and roll guys were switching from Telecasters to Les Pauls.
That's right.
Because Gibson came out with the humbucker.
Yeah.
So basically, it was like a single coil Tele on steroids, which is what this guy sounds like here, traditional spec. Burst buckers in there, whatever you call them. So I had the Tele for a little while, and I loved it. That sound was amazing.
You rocked it.
But there was something missing from it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what the hell it was until I realized I've got to go back to my roots
That's right.
and get the Les Paul. So obviously I've got the Les Paul sitting in front of me now. The reason why I choose the Les Paul is because you still get that clarity and that twang of the Tele. You know, but it all depends on how you're actually playing the guitar. I feel like you can manipulate a guitar in any way and make it sound any way within reason. So to me, this Les Paul here sounds like a Tele on steroids because that's the way that I play.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I have that C over G kind of country, a little bit of chicken pick in my playing. Not that I chicken pick or hybrid pick, you know, all the time, but I do dabble a little bit. So it's interesting to find where you guys stand with all this. So it's a journey. Everybody's even got, you know, it's a fingerprint, it's like a thumbprint. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's like a sexy earlobe.
It makes a lot of sense when you say it's like a Telecaster on steroids, because it's the traditional series, which is based on the older pickup and just the older specs, which is what it was.
A lot more wood in the body too, so the tone goes through a lot more.
This particular Lester Paul,
Lesbian Pauline.
This particular one is it's a two-piece mahogany body, and you can see right down the Strat button. You can see two pieces of mahogany. It's got a maple top.
What color is it?
Honeyburst.
That's the
It's as
it looks good, man.
It's as old school as you're gonna get. This is me. I cannot appreciate it enough. You know, I love this guitar.
suits you too, dude.
Two-piece mahogany body, maple top, maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard. The thing that I find with Les Paul is if we want to get into some tech specs, is I feel there's more sustain because it's a all together body. It's a set neck as opposed to the bolt-on neck. How do you guys find that kind of sound difference? Like obviously there's sound difference with the pickups and stuff, but like playability wise, like you've seen best of both worlds. What do you guys think? Tyler, what do you think?
Well, I actually used both guitars when we tracked the guitars for the intro song. The live room
it's
intro
Les Paul
song.
and these two guitars together.
That's right. So you can almost judge for yourself at home, the viewer, as to which sound you prefer. The playability for this particular, for the particular riff that we were playing there, I had an easier time playing it with the Les Paul, to be brutally honest with you.
Yep.
But it's geared towards that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that handles drop D very well as well.
Yep, for sure.
So, but again, that's what it's designed for. If I was to play any kind of neoclassical, jazz, neo-soul kind of stuff, which I generally do at home, I would definitely prefer the Strat for that. So, yeah, it just depends what you're playing.
I've always found the set necks, one of the major components is it helps with sustainability.
Yep.
Just like pulling out notes, holding them forever. The tone will just sing through it.
Like Slash and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably the best example for
Yeah.
that. Just like ring it and just, pretty gnarly stuff.
King.
But if you're to look at the flip side, I can't actually put that into words too well. You might have to help me out there. So it's like, if the set through neck is so good for sustain, what is the bolt on neck good for? Apart from perhaps playability? Because it's a lot easier to get those, like, those higher up frets.
Well, if you think about it, like you've got you got the Tally and you've got the Strat. Most of the time, probably 95% of the time, they are bolt on. And what's the one characteristic that has, just like Sustain has to a Les Paul? It's snappy. It's twangy.
The other thing to
that's
mention,
probably pretty true.
I think that's a lot to do with the bolt-on aspect of those guitars. So.
the thing that a lot of people probably don't take into account is the scale length of the guitars.
Yeah, true.
Let me get the exact numbers
There we
here for you. Gibson uses 24.75 inches scale length, and Fender uses where are we? Sorry, I just pulled up my numbers here. I believe it's
25.5 rings a bell to me.
25.5. That's exactly
That's it?
So there is subtle differences with.
That's a lot in scale length.
Allow me to say the harmonic content of your playing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to get more sustain from a Les Paul. It naturally, I feel like a Les Paul breaks up really nicely. I can really control. I don't play with pedals at all. I
You're
gravitate.
missing out.
I know, Mr. Helix. Mr. Helix. Like, you are as like techie as it gets, whereas I'm like straight into the amp. That's my tone. My sounds in my
amp.
hands.
American made. That's all you need.
That's exactly it. Well, this was made in California, which I'm really Mexico, which I'm disappointed about. Whatever, doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. I only like things that are made in America. Like me, I like to support my home country.
Does that mean you don't like us?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
He avoids Australia-made food while he's here.
I eat nothing but like Snickers and Twinkies
It's a good diet.
with Dr. Pepper and root beer.
Oh, mate.
But this is really good for getting a sound to break up right away. Like I feel like naturally these are more dirty, similar to what I was saying before. The Telecaster on steroids. Sonically, the Strat has always been more clear. Recently, Paul Reed Smith came out with the John Mayer signature guitar,
Silver Sky.
Silver Sky. A
Beautiful
lot of
thing.
controversy around that, and the reason why is because Paul Reed Smith made a Strat. But the big difference with that is when I was watching all the how-tos and how they made it, there was one thing that they said that really resonated with me. It was the fact that they felt that the Strat itself sounds like an ice pick.
Yep.
I find the Strat to personally be really harsh on my ears. So that's where that redesign, the Silver Sky model, it's like tonally and sonically sounds not better, but more developed than your.
You're talking about
Strat.
like that trebly peak
when you're
that
on
Defenders can get?
when you are on the Ridge pickup standard position 1.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very
harsh.
It's harsh.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
You got to
harsh.
control it.
Yeah, you really do. So you have to play with the tone knob and everything. Like, that's another thing as well. The playing with the tone and volume knob really changes the sound.
Oh, big time.
So that's why I love the Strat sound, believe me. I've notable players. You guys want to get into notable players of each? Tyler, I know you had a bunch.
Yeah, well, as far as Strat goes, Jimi Hendrix, of course, comes to mind. Richie Blackmore, Yanigwe Malmsteen, as I like to call him.
Palmsteen.
Yngwie. Yeah.
Yngwie.
Yeah.
Yngwie Satriani.
I like David Gilmour a lot.
Yeah.
David Gilmour's nuances.
Yeah.
Pretty
Stevie Ray
wild
Vaughan
there.
as well. with
Did
the
you know
heavier
David
gauge
Gilmour
strings.
owns number one Strat ever made?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If I'm correct, look, anybody can
That's
go on the
pretty
internet
cool,
and
yeah.
lie.
That'd have to be worth it.
But I'm pretty sure
I believe that.
not the first Strat ever made, but like production number one.
Wow.
First one off the press. Not to mention Mr. Clapton.
That was my next one, yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Yep.
But the interesting thing he started on what was he when he started in?
He was an SG guy.
He was an SG guy, but for before that, when Clapton joined the Yardbirds, he was playing a Telecaster.
Yeah.
Well, there goes my phone.
And $20.
He was
I'm thinking, what happened?
There goes the Skycam. Sorry, guys. But he was playing a Telecaster and then gravitated towards a Les Paul when he was playing with I cannot think of it now. Why can't I think of the name? It'll come back to me. And then he gravitated toward Les Paul and then SG and then a Strat.
Everyone
So-
ends up at a Strat, mate.
Oh,
Don't you forget it.
I cannot believe that fell down. I can't believe that.
Should we
fell
have a
down.
quick intermission on
Yeah,
that?
we'll have a quick intermission. Look, we'll come back in 2 seconds.
And I will beatbox while Eric fixes that.
We'll regroup. Okay, we're back.
We're back, people.
Skycam is back in place until it falls down again. What's next?
I think we need to hear you play some of that delicious guitar, and then we might get onto Fender. What do you think?
Me?
I think so.
All right.
Let's start with the early Eric Clapton sound and we'll move to the modern.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's really funny. What is this? You know what? It's really bothering me. I gotta know. John Mayall and the Blues Breakers.
Yes.
How did I not know that?
I was trying to figure out. I have one of
Was
his
that the
LPs.
supergroup he was part of, or was the supergroup
that was
the
Cream.
Yardbirds?
So Yardbirds, and then John Mayall and the
Because
Blues
Jeff
Breakers.
Beck was in one of them.
So was Jimmy Page.
There you go.
All three were in the same. Well, not at the same. At the same time. Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page played together at the same time. Clapton left.
Unfiltered, raw. This podcast.
We'll censor it. We'll censor it. Can we hear that?
That sounds great. Yeah.
So that Clapton sound was really an influential sound on me back in the day. So Clapton started on Les Paul, controlling Gibson, controlling the tone, volume, and all that stuff. So it was really good because I feel like he really paved the way for high gain amps.
Oh, for sure.
A Les Paul and a Marshall Bluesbreaker amp. I mean, nothing sounds better than that. And then everybody transitioned to high watts and then loud Marshalls and all that stuff. So you know what I mean, like Telly on steroids a little bit.
That G chord though.
But you can also play like AC/DC stuff on this as well, like your standard like high gain chords.
Yeah.
I think that's an Airborne song.
Airborne, is it? Probably. But no, it's for my playing style, I find the Les Paul to be really good. Just because I can really dig in, and you can hear when I dig in. For example, if I play one of the new riffs I've written, it's really good. It's all C over G stuff, you know what I mean? But you can hear when sonically, I feel like it's really thick. Even if I roll back on the tone a little bit. It's just immediately thick right away.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the Gibson sound. And you know what I mean? I can do all the, really thick leady stuff as well.
Beautiful.
It's nice. You know what I mean? It's really throaty and it's not overpowering. And like in terms of, my kind of ears, I gravitate to how it's going to sound in a mix.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Being a producer mindset.
And it's always going to sound good. So Les Paul for me, obviously we're only kind of, scratching the surface here sonically and tonally, musically. But Big Ted, move on with the Strat.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll get that bad boy going.
I'm really interested to hear what you're going to play to, because you don't play typical Strat
Not at all.
style. I feel like you have just the Big Ted style.
He's got his own sound.
Yeah,
and
it's
I think he had it from day one.
Now you can see the difference there right now. Like it's a lot more clear. Not as full. You can hear each individual note a little bit more.
You could say thin.
Thin's probably the word, yeah.
But not at the same time, though, because you're on the neck pickup. Hear that? Like, it's just, to me, like, you can really get into that ice pick kind of vibe.
Oh, absolutely. Just, yeah, very chicken picking. It's perfect for chicken picking, really.
I know. It is. Does anybody know how to play Dire Straits? Because, like, Dire Straits.
I could play the Money for Nothing riff. I think that's about it.
Yeah, can you play it? Can we hear it? Because
We can do it.
my ears are craving to hear.
And I'm going to
that.
share a fun fact
Yes,
with you guys.
Let's hear it.
Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits, very famous Strat musician.
Yes,
However,
yes.
for the Money for Nothing riff, one of his most famous riffs, it was at a time when MTV music videos were really popular, and it was the first
They're still
computer graphicked video clip ever made for that
Yeah.
video. But guess what? He didn't use a Fender Stratocaster. He had to beef it up a notch, and he used a Les Paul.
Yeah.
So if I'm
getting
going to play the
ganged up
riff,
on.
it's going to be on the Les Paul.
Oh,
I'm going to do it justice.
Oh, whew.
it's funny because Narc Moffler, he also has his own signature Les Paul.
Yes,
Did
he
you know
does,
that?
Yeah.
It's very similar color to this, actually.
Yeah.
Probably the same.
Are you gonna play it with your hands as well, like him?
Yeah.
He doesn't muck around, Mr. Jones. Good old Jason Jones. That's it. You got it.
Sweet. Oi! 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 Oi!
That's it.
I'm just making up from there.
But it sounds like it though. It sounds like
That's
that
all
riff.
Mark Knopfler does, man. Knopfler.
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 It's you can clearly hear the differences in each guitar. Fender obviously is more bright, Gibson's more dark, but
Bright's a good word, actually.
it all depends on these bad boys right here. All these 10 digits that I'm
Turns into fingers.
that I'm
That's
holding up in front of the camera here, which you listeners can't see.
Actually, the tones in the plectrum.
But it's a mixture of everything, you know what I mean?
is.
Like it's the kind of wood that's in the guitar, the pickups that you're doing, the pick that you're playing with, the cable you're using, the amp and the speaker.
What hemisphere of the world you're in?
Yeah, that's a big one, actually.
Actually, yes. You know why? Because like the voltage and all that stuff affects the tone of the amp. Did you know that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for real.
I can change those settings in my Helix.
Yeah.
You're talking like that 440 and 432 hertz thing?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And the voltage here, like in the States, it's 120. Here we got 240.
Ah, right. Yep. All right. I'm on the same page.
And
now.
that as well. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, I could be totally wrong here, but there's a really good guy on YouTube, Johan Segeborn, Segeborn. I think he's a Swedish guy.
Nah, Segibin.
Deep cut. He experiments with a lot of different stuff. Remember, I sent you a video of him a while ago. He put 2 guitar tuners on a steel beam. I sent it to you, and
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
that dude.
Yep.
So he plays around with a lot of like how the voltage affects the tone of the amp.
Yep.
Sometimes it can make the guitar actually sound higher pitched. So over in Europe, I don't know whatever happens in there. I don't know. That's why
We won't go there.
we won't go there. But yeah, everything affects the sound of the guitar. So personally, for me, I'm a Gibson guy, and we're only really scratching the surface with the small little playable demos.
You could talk about the fingerboard rosewood versus maple versus ebony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother debate, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You've got a rosewood fingerboard there as well as I do, but I was against you getting a rosewood Strat. I was like, man, you got to get the maple. It's the classic look.
And I think if I was to get a Telecaster again, I think I'd go rosewood on that too.
Would you really?
Yeah,
Would you-
it's
would you-
kind of sacrilegious, but I think I'd do it that way, absolutely.
Interesting you say that.
I think maple goes a little bit extra with that clarity also on a Fender. It's like the cherry on top per se with a Fender, just with that extra clarity.
Oh, for sure.
Rosewood, what's the main rosewood perk to you then?
It's kind of bridging the gap between having clarity and like really deep sustained tone.
Yeah.
So you're getting the Stratocaster, the pickups, the scale length, everything about it that makes it a Strat, but it's a little warmer. I kind of got this because John Mayer plays specifically Rosewood Strats, and I resonate with his guitar playing and his solo work probably a lot more than most other Stratocaster players. So,
I mean, the other
That's
thing as
fitting.
well, I've got a couple notes in front of me that I do want to mention because listeners out there may say, I can't believe you didn't mention this, that. Tailpiece, bridge, all that stuff. I mean, like here, what's happening with the Strat here is we have like a little bit of a floating trem. A lot of people sometimes hardtail the bridge for the Strat.
I've hardtailed this one, or a little bit.
Yeah, so just so it doesn't go out of tune because some people like to do their dive bombs and whammy bars, whatever you call it, wiggle sticks. This one has a
That's what I
I
call
haven't
it.
heard that one.
the wiggle stick, factory wiggle stick, guys. This one's good because it's just a solid tailpiece bomb. It's in there.
The only thing that would make that better is a Bigsby.
the Bigsby. Really?
I love Bigsby's.
Are you a Bigsby guy?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Bigsby.
Big Ted's a big Bigsby guy.
They seem easy to restring, Bigsby's,
They're a bit of a pain, actually.
as opposed to like floating trams and trems.
Oh, it's easier than that.
Yeah.
You know, anything's easier than that. String theory is easier than that.
Move over Niels Bohr.
What?
He's a physicist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he had anything to do
we're
with
not
string
intelligent
theory,
like you,
though.
mate.
Is the mic stand bugging you there?
Yeah, it keeps going down.
All right, here. Let me fix
I'll let a professional studio musician fix that up for me. You're decreasing the fulcrum, I say. Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Oh, all right. So what's next in the Fender Gibson debate? So let's talk about how. Okay, so it's no secret that Gibson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection recently. So Gibson as a brand has actually been going downhill over the last couple of years. That's why I figured there's no better time than now to actually buy Gibson guitar because it may be the last time
It's a good investment, people.
that I can buy it brand new and made in America. Obviously, that's not going to be the case.
No.
They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and they're going to be restructuring their business model because they've tried to rebrand themselves as like a musical lifestyle company, which I think is
Like consumer electronics and stuff.
which is BS because
Yeah.
Gibson was not at NAMM this year. They were at CES. Does that make sense?
No, not at all.
Consumer Electronics Show and Gibson. And they're not at NAMM or NAMM, whatever you want to say. Vietnam. Same idea.
You got to be at NAMM if you want to make guitars. It's
That's
like
it.
it's the proving ground. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So I think I hope they're trending in the right direction. But acquiring companies like Crate and
Kramer,
and whatever.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Just doesn't make sense.
Thank you very much.
There was a rumor that Joe Bonamassa was going to be in partnership to buy Gibson. It's not
Really?
real. It's not real. He's come out and debunked it. But imagine.
I think the struggle with Gibson is, I mean, like just like another level, I guess, is they're just not keeping up to date with modern playability, particularly with a lot of the more metal approach. People are moving on to 7 strings and like extended scale guitars. Gibson have made a few, but they're keeping it very.
They kept the
dated.
same scale length.
They're keeping it very dated
With the 7
still.
string.
Did they really?
Yeah. Yeah, 25.5 with 7 strings. It's just feels like you're playing spaghetti.
You need 2 more inches on that. You got to make it done.
Ooh.
Two
20
more inches is all you need.
Yeah.
Wow. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I'd have 0 cents. The Gibson is really good because to me they're the traditional guitar company.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel they need to change what they're doing because people like it. People gravitate towards it. For me, Gibson is probably the most recognizable.
20th century
Yes,
guitar
that's
sound.
it. But yeah, that's the thing is they've tried to do things that they're not good at, and they've announced like the new their newest model is like some modern V or Futura V. I don't know what it is, but it's uglier than hell.
I haven't seen it.
It's ugly. Let me look it up.
I'm not a V guy anyway.
You keep talking, Ted. Let's talk about what's Fender doing that's really appealing to people right now.
Talk about the professional series.
yeah.
The professional series is doing what Jackson wants Gibson to do.
Exactly.
It's being more modern. It's modernizing their flagship lines and stuff like that. For example, we've got upgraded pickups. We've got a bone nut up the top here.
Stock bone nut.
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
And upgraded wiring on the inside and everything like that. Everything's just geared towards modern playing and stuff like that. So
Little innovative touches on it. I think the frets are actually a different type of
yeah,
material.
they
also.
are. Yeah, I can't recall what they are at the
I
moment.
read a
but
brochure. I can't remember.
It feels a lot better. So is that the Futura V?
The modern Flying V, sorry.
It looks like
it is
something someone from the 80s would have done briefly.
It looks like
It looks a little bit like a BC Rich.
Oh, man. And that's not good when you're comparing to Gibson, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I haven't seen this. This is
it's ugly.
It looks like Dean and BC Rich decided to make a Flying V together, and they made the best looking guitar I've ever seen.
But you know the funny thing about this guitar actually is? It's purple. It's purple.
Oh, right.
It's a purple sparkle.
Oh.
But the pictures look black.
it actually? It might just be a joke.
It's real.
Yeah, but like, come on.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. Man,
No wonder you're filing for bankruptcy when you're making that.
Maybe they're just admitting like, all right, guys, we messed up.
but it's interesting as well because some hardcore Fender players are actually gravitating away from Fender. Notably, what we mentioned before, the Silver Sky.
Yep.
Speak to that if we can, Jackson. Or how do you feel?
I don't
about
know too much about it other than everybody's raving about it. The price tag is ridiculous because it's not a production model yet. It's basically a very custom spec guitar for John Mayer. So I think it's plus $10,000.
Oh, easily.
It's a lot of cash.
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's a lot of people that want to go to other brands other than Fender for their modern type of playing. But most of the time, you're talking $4 or $5 grand plus for a modern machine sort of thing. Or like Sir guitars, Aristides guitars, all that. They're all
You want a custom made guitar? Yeah, it's up there.
But there's other companies as well that are taking that classic approach and improving on it. PRS with the Silver Sky model, obviously redesigning the Strat. Lesser, I wouldn't say lesser known, but lesser kind of like put in the media is Sir Aura. It's their redesign of the Les Paul, which is all handmade, handcrafted by two guys. I think the guy who actually John Sir, he's the guy who owns the company. It's named after him. So him and I think it's his brother or somebody else are like working on it together. So that's the thing is like the craftsmanship that are going into these guitars are actually being done better than the source material themselves. If I'm to show you guys here, one thing about Gibson is a lot of people have been talking pretty poorly about their build quality. Not that I'm complaining here, but if I'm going to look out for inconsistencies, I can find them. For example, here, if you look at the binding, they didn't properly scrape the binding.
No, they
Do you see
didn't.
that?
All right, yeah.
Quality control has actually gone downhill for Gibson. That's a lot of
That's actually a
complaints.
bit disappointing.
Thankfully, it's in a bit you don't really see.
Yes, thankfully. But I mean, that's the thing is like this
Not
is
an
all,
excuse, though.
This is all done by hand, so I can appreciate inconsistencies. However,
for sure.
I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, like I'm not that kind of guy. I'm grateful just to have this. I'm not going to say, "Oh, look at that."
I got to trade this and get a better one.
It's still a Gibson Les Paul.
That's right.
It's still a Gibson Les Paul. I mean, but people are doing things better now than the source material.
Absolutely.
It's like Sir and Paul Reed Smith. Another thing we wanted to talk about as well, while we're kind of in that area, is if we're going to branch out a little bit, John Mayer's new song launched in the last 2 weeks. Gee, it's a bomb. Just kidding. It's
The silence. I was like,
killed
did you
me
just say
then.
that?
Man, that is a bad song.
It's pretty fresh.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. I obviously tracking it with the PRS Silver Sky. It's really good.
That's like on his album cover. He's holding the PRS.
I know he's wearing
it's
like
a statement.
80s like
He's proud of it.
windbreaker.
It's beautiful.
You know what I mean? It's really funny. Like I like the direction he's going into. So I guess we're gravitating away from Fender versus Gibson. Look, everybody on YouTube and all that. Let us know. Facebook, Instagram. Where are you with the Fender versus Gibson debate? I'd really like to hear everybody's thoughts. What kind of guitar do you play?
Give us your percent.
Yeah. The percentage
The
is a good
80-20,
Yep.
60-40.
I'm 80-20 for
But
sure.
the other way around.
20-80.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Yep.
There you go.
So anyway, John Mayer's new song.
It's beautiful.
That's really good.
It's fantastic. Like when I looked at like the photo he put up of him in like the 80s stuff and he's got his guitar there, it just reminded me of being on like a school bus in the 90s.
That's exactly what it was like.
Like the material you sit on the seats just looks like that album cover.
Ah, yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
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 I can't relate.
Maybe it's just a
Did you
Australian
did you
school
go
bus
to
system
school?
thing.
I've never been to school
Never
in my
been to
life.
school? Oh,
I
It's
don't.
like grey with really like retro off colors.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, like the buses that get around town here now, right? Like that kind of ugly.
Oh, it's ugly, but John Mayer rocks it. He can rock whatever he wants.
See, I took the yellow school bus to school back in my old days. You know, back in the old days.
Magging elbow.
Yeah, tasty Tyler. So yeah,
that's me.
I can't necessarily relate to a point, but like I love what he's going for. I really love that musically. A lot of people are trying to call back to the '80s,
Oh, for sure.
and it's really cool. It's like the '80s are reborn, but it's the 20-teens, 10s.
The 2080s, I believe I called it in the last episode.
Really
The 2080s.
cool.
Makes no sense, but it's got a ring to it.
No, it's similar to a Fender Strat.
Does have a ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I like the new song. It's good. It's different. I think he's embracing a new style, and I can really appreciate that.
He's very authentic to himself, John Mayer. Like he always plays where he's at. He doesn't conform to any
That's right.
particular, what the big companies might want him to play. I'm not even sure if he's independent now. Or
I think he
Sony
is
or
now.
whatever
After he had that
is.
whole Hollywood saga thing, I think he took a step back from the Hollywood lifestyle. Still lives there part time.
He plays what he wants to play. Like I had a friend who saw him in concert, and apparently he didn't play like any of his older songs.
Nah.
Really?
He mocked his older songs, like just like playing around. Like, look, this song's only 3 chords. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to play some of my new blues stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's over it. He's over Hollywood. He just wants to do his
Your
own
body
thing.
is a wonderland.
Yeah.
Like it's a good song. It made him famous, but it's like one of those things. It's like you cannot escape that part of you as a songwriter.
No.
I can appreciate back to Clapton. That song Layla was written about a woman and all that stuff. I mean,
Tasty lick.
Google it if you want to know the story about it. But it's really funny because it's like that's a song that's really popular, defines him as a songwriter, and he's no longer with that woman, so he has to play that song on stage.
That'd be rough.
After
That'd
night,
be rough.
after night, after night. So
But John Mayer's like he's also doing he's playing guitar for the Grateful Dead now.
Dead and Co.
Now that Jerry Garcia is no longer with us.
Ted and Co.
Ted and Co. That's my project.
Staycation.
Stay tuned.
Staycation.
Staycation's my first song. Dead and Co. is the project he's doing with them. So he's playing
Yeah.
guitar in place of them. And if they toured Australia, I'd be there in a heartbeat. Grateful Dead with John Mayer, that is a combo and a half.
That's a band I've never listened to, Grateful Dead.
You'd like him. You really enjoy him. Jerry Garcia is a very, very tasty guitarist.
Yeah. Since we last talked, I've gravitated onto some new music. I don't know if you guys have, aside from the new John Mayer song.
I've been listening to nothing but Huey Lewis in the News.
Have you?
I love it.
What do you
So
think?
Yes.
good.
It's like I know who they are now. I've heard every single song for sure. I'm like, I just never put a name to it. I'm like, oh, it's that song. Like,
I know. That's the thing. It's like that's the kind of band that you listen to. It's like, oh shit, it's them. That's what I like about them because they're cool. They're good, really good. Good band. I bought. Did I talk about this last time? I went to JB Hi-Fi and I spent $20 on a greatest hits CD. The Eagles.
No, you didn't mention that.
all
last
right.
time.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Don't blame you, mate. You're not
They
50
have
plus.
too many songwriters. They go in too many different directions.
It's not what
That's
I.
my general consensus.
It's like 10% of the way there of what I want to listen to right now as far as songs. Like they're almost there. Good band, solid songs. Just not for me. Just a little different than what I expected them to be, other than Hotel California, which is the only song that I knew.
Yeah,
But
it's a great song though.
yeah, it is. Good guitar solo.
For
Don Henley and Joe Walsh.
You've got a good memory for names. Why did you call me Trevor before?
I actually want to get a custom rug like made for my house one day. And it's based on Hotel California. It says you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave.
I love it.
It's so good.
I love it. All right, so it seems like we're kind of wrapping up a little bit. So do we have any funny T&Ds, tids and bits, bites, any funny stories?
I had a little bit of a funny story this week.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Lay it.
On my mother is a nurse at Bendigo Health and part of
Penny guy.
Bendigo Health, mate. Part of being a nurse there is whenever we get flu shots and stuff like that. Whenever the flu season comes around, any family member associated with Bendigo Health gets the free flu shot.
Right.
You don't have to pay.
Right, yeah.
You don't have to pay $8 there, mate.
Yeah.
And
Right.
You don't have to line up at Chemist Warehouse with half a Bendigo.
that's all right, mum.
Right.
Oh. Oh.
We've lost Tyler.
I'm out.
We've lost Trevor.
Oh, you've unplugged from the Matrix.
That's what happens when you go to flu immunization. You just,
You're no longer in this world.
yeah, man.
And it was weird. I went with my dad. My dad had an RDO, and he had an RDO, mate. Lost a day off. And we went with my brother and myself, and yeah, we went to get the flu shot. And I don't know whether you guys, well, I know Jackson knows a little bit of my family, but I don't know whether you've met most of my family. I'm the smallest gentleman in my family.
You're the smallest Ted.
I'm Big Ted, but I'm the smallest Ted in that family.
To me, you're Big Ted.
Yeah, thanks.
To them,
It's like
you're-
Marshall and How I Met Your Mother, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, we're very much that kind of family, like just Viking beasts. Anyway, all three of us walked in, get this flu shot done, and we're just all there, you know, looking big and stuff like that. And the lady that did the flu shot's like, "Oh, would you guys like a lollipop?" And all three of us in unison were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And then just this hilarious picture of me, my 6'5" brother, my 6'1" dad, just walking out of the hospital with lollipops in our mouth.
6'5".
Were
Yeah,
you
he's a
holding
big boy.
hands also with the...
Oh, we should have. We should have. But it was just. I'm
That's a
just
sight for sore eyes.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would have liked to have watched myself walk out.
Would you like a lollipop? Yeah, nah.
Yeah, I love one. Thanks, man.
Yeah, nah, yeah.
So would you?
Yeah, sure. That's one thing about the Australian people is like, not everybody. I'm not generalizing. I'm not that guy.
You should.
But everybody here is like, hey, do you want to go to get McDonald's? Yeah, nah. Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
and like, where do you go from there? Is that a yes or a no?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, nah. Just a couple dim sims.
Couple of dimmies, mate.
Macca's should do dim sims.
It's
The McDim.
McDim Sim.
McSim.
I love it. Jackson, story. Do you have any funny tidbits?
I've got a health story, I guess, if we're going along that theme. I went to Unify Festival earlier this year, which is Australia's heavy music gathering, I believe they bill it as.
Groove in the Moo.
Bit of close.
Groove in the mood, but for people with body odor issues.
Okay, I get it. I get
and
it.
infectious diseases. I just want to point out, I actually got like this skin infection for like 10 weeks there.
Skin infection.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. Crowd surfing, lost my phone, and I had a skin condition all up my arm for like
Oh man,
a good 10 weeks or so. It was pretty
was a long
horrific.
time.
On antibiotics
you
and
became
everything.
a leper.
So I've decided I'm going to retire from the music festival scene. Only going to do one-day concerts from now on. I just felt like I needed to announce that.
I appreciate that.
Camping environments, like they're pretty sick though. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
What about you, mate?
I can
Funny
appreciate-
stories.
Look, I don't have a recent funny story. I just have a thing. I
I like things.
I just want to get off my chest. All right.
Is this about your shoelaces again?
It's a third nipple, isn't it?
We're not talking about my shoelaces again. I'm still wearing them. I've
The gold tips.
God, they look good.
Gold tipped.
I'm still wearing the same boot.
These are
Me too.
these are like the Flava Flav shoelaces. We covered this in episode 1, available on iTunes and SoundCloud.
And LinkedIn.
And I guess we're LinkedIn now. It really going through the drive-through here is a different experience. First of all, I'm driving on the other side of the road, so it's just weird.
It's a hazard around every corner.
And as we mentioned earlier, Jackson, I believe you mentioned this. Australians talk very fast.
Yes.
Okay, so I go to the McDonald's drive-through.
Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get you?
No, not even that. So if I'm home, all right, if I'm in Central Square, New York, and I go to the Central Square McDonald's right off of Route 81, exit 32,
I know exactly where that is.
I go to McDonald's and they're
It's
like,
very clear.
"Hi, welcome to McDonald's. What can I, blah." You know what I mean? Like, you get it. You get where I'm going. I go to McDonald's here and they're like, "Get a takeover, please." Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Because
It's
that's
over
what
the
they
top.
do.
That's normal for us.
They've started upselling you now also. I've noticed.
A large Big Mac, sure. Would you like 5 large fries for $1.99?
Yes.
They offer you like multiple cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Also.
Would you like a cheeseburger for $1? I'm probably gonna go there after this, by the way. The other thing I notice is when you take something from the window, or generally, I think just general retail people say this. It's like they don't say, "Okay, have a nice day. Here's your food. Whatever. Have a nice winter time." I don't know. There's
That's exactly what they say.
Yeah.
Have you worked there before?
possibly. I did work at Dunkin' Donuts. That was my first kind of normal day job. But whatever. So they're always like, there's that one. There's these ones. There's those ones.
Here's
do
this.
you guys know? No, not even that or this. It's like one.
There's that one.
Singular unit.
There's those ones. There's these ones. Thanks. And like they're handing me the cup tray with like
Nothing in it.
4 large chocolate thick shakes. There's those ones.
Can you name them individually?
I don't know.
No, there's those ones.
Are you guys picking up what I'm putting
Yeah,
down?
yeah.
Like
I just have nothing to compare it to, though. I guess I'm kind of used to
Yeah,
it.
we haven't been anywhere else, I suppose.
The unenthusiasticness of Australian retail workers.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other place that I've been to McDonald's Japan, and like it's language difference. I just pointed out.
Welcome to McDonald's.
Welcome to
What can I get to you?
Oh, John Smith, you like a Big Mac?
I'm not going to do this.
You are 117.
Not going to go down that road.
Jackson, yes.
I shared my story. I got a skin condition.
Yep.
I'm not going to do a Japanese accent now.
Why not?
I can't.
The camera just shut off. We're still up here. We're still live up here. Skycam. Look, front camera shut off. It's probably time to wrap the program up.
How about I wrap it up with my riff of the week.
Let's go riff of the week.
Riff of the
I'm
week.
all about it.
Let's hear it.
Now, this is a country riff as of played by Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yep.
I'll show you the original version.
Thanks a lot,
first.
guys.
And there you go. Thanks for watching episode 2, Crash of the Titans. The Live Room Podcast at Live Room Podcast on Instagram. Listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, available anywhere else on Android where you listen to podcasts.
And
SoundCloud.
all good bookstores.
And Barnes & Noble bookstores. Cultural differences. Nobody's going to get that. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Do all that stuff. Interact. We want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching us on the Skycam. Thanks for watching us on the Canon 80D, which is no longer filming. Battery must have died. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm looking over there. Anyway, we'll see you next time on episode 3, which we don't know what it's going to be yet. So thanks for watching. Take care, guys.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye. Woo!